The Oklahoma City Thunder take Game 5 of the NBA Finals and a 3-2 lead over the Indiana Pacers. Now one win away from an NBA championship. Along with Josh Calloway, I am Colby Daniels. Josh, it was an incredible first-half performance. Things got pretty close in the third quarter, beginning stages of the fourth quarter, but ultimately it was championship-level resilience by this Thunder team, surviving the Pacers' comeback attempt and really closing things out strong.
Unbelievable performance. Listen, this place right now is a huge group. Doing one more win chance back here. The vibes are obviously incredible here at the Paycom Center. Yeah, I mean, just championship medal. I mean, you talk about Indiana. We talked about it going into the series and certainly after Game 1. They don't go away. They continue to fight and battle. They don't give up at all. And they managed to scratch and claw their way back down to a 2-point game in the fourth quarter. And Oklahoma City just completely responded. Jalen Williams was obviously incredible, the best game of his career. SGA was also very, very good again, as per usual. And the Thunder just made the winning plays the last 5-6 minutes of this game to find a way to get the job done and be one win away from a championship.
A 40-point night for Jalen Williams, who was sensational for all four quarters, right? I mean, he was the Thunder's best player consistently tonight. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, what can you say? I mean, he is a level of consistency, 30-plus points for him, fourth time in 5 games this postseason, or this NBA Finals that he's been over 30. I thought you had different role players throughout the night stepping up in big moments. You mentioned the 2-point game. I think it was around the 8-minute mark. It's 95-93. Cason Wallace, who wasn't good in the 2 games at Indiana, was sensational tonight. Hit some big shots, but in that stretch, he got an offensive rebound, kicked it out to J-Dub for a 3. He then gets a steal and a transition bucket, and a 2-point lead becomes a 7-point lead like that because of Cason Wallace, and really the Thunder never gave that back.
Yeah, Jalen Williams and SGA did a lot of the heavy lifting tonight. Obviously, they go for over 70 combined between the two of them, but you said it. They don't win this game without Cason Wallace, some very timely threes and some big plays from him. Big bounce back after he had a rough couple of games in India. Like you said, they took him out of the starting lineup, and he really responded, played much better at home. Aaron Wiggins, who was huge in Game 2, and then kind of like Cason Wallace did, little to nothing in Indianapolis, he hit some mammoth threes tonight as well. Isaiah Hartenstein, who, not a bench player, but a, kind of role player, I guess you could say, was also really, really huge in this game. Some big rebounds, and some overall nice passes, winning plays from him as well. J-Dub and SGA, obviously, again, they did the heavy lifting, but the Thunder got big contributions from a number of other guys to help them get over that finish line tonight with an Indiana team that just wouldn't go away. It
was a pretty incredible first 2 quarters, and to your point, I mean, it was Aaron Wiggins hitting some timely shots. Cason Wallace got things going early. Alex Caruso, who's been sensational, I mean, better than you would expect in terms of the scoring department in this series, didn't really score a ton tonight, but, I mean, he made his presence felt.
Sure.
Isaiah Hartenstein starts for the 2nd game in a row, and I thought he was exceptional. The point total is never going to tell the story on him, but I thought timely rebounds, I thought the level of just physicality that he played with in the paint gave the Thunder a much-needed lift, and the way that he facilitated the offense, his passing throughout the game was exceptional. Again, you're looking for players to help J-Dub and SGA, especially running the offense. They ran the offense through him for a portion of this game, and he was out there dropping dimes like he was the greatest point guard of all time.
Especially early. His first quarter was tremendous. And look, we talked about it. Obviously, they won Game 4, and the close of the fourth quarter was the best fourth quarter they've had in the series. It was also their worst first quarter in Game 4. So we wondered, would they maybe consider going back to Cason Wallace or stick Isaiah Hartenstein in the lineup, stick with him? That obviously proved to end up being the right move, because he got them off to a great start. He was a big part of Oklahoma City winning the first quarter, kind of getting off running early. He was really, really good tonight. Like you said, the box score is not going to tell the whole story. He also had a few more assists he could have had if guys had finished some things at the rim. Isaiah Hartenstein was excellent. One of the better games he's had maybe in the whole postseason this year for the Thunder. He was really, really good.
We asked the question before the game, what was the urgency going to look like on both sides, right? Because it's now a 2-2 series. You go into tonight, the Thunder had the heartbreaker in Game 1. The Pacers had the heartbreaker in Game 4. They've each kind of experienced letting one go. The Thunder bounced back in a big way. You wondered if the Pacers were going to play with a level of urgency that we hadn't seen this entire series. They showed up flat as could be. It was pretty shocking to see that, and the Thunder, I thought, played great 2 quarters. the resiliency of Indiana, though, you got to give it up to them. Led by T.J. McConnell, of all people, in the third quarter, pulled them back into things. But again, I think the Thunder's performance in the fourth quarter, after things really got tight, and they felt like we had to go win this instead of cruising to the finish line. I mean, that's the mark of a champion.
Yeah, and a lot of that was Jalen Williams. You know, I continue to be so impressed. And look, I said it to you, we were up there watching the game. Jalen was an all-star this year, so I'm not going to pretend like he's not already on his way to star status. You're seeing him elevate to superstar level in this series. He just scored 40 in the NBA Finals, and he was the reason the Thunder won this game tonight. He was excellent, and I kind of figured as it was going along, it would be like Game 4, where Jada was kind of the guy, but in the fourth quarter, it'll be Shea. It was still Dub all the way to the end. You get over that 40 mark, the amount of big buckets he got, tough finishes at the rim. I can't say enough about how good he was. That urgency to close the game that Thunder played with, I thought he started that. Jalen Williams, obviously just a masterclass from him, and certainly, again, the best game of his career so far, probably by far.
Yeah. Thunder win Game 5 of the NBA Finals, 120-109. Now one win away from an NBA title. Fans are still sticking around the Paycom Center going nuts. Our own Christina Santiago is out at One Oak Field. Christina, are fans doing backflips? I mean, what is the vibe out there? Because here at the Paycom Center, fans are sticking around. A lot of smiling faces here. Now one win away from a championship.
Not exactly doing backflips, but fans over here, guys, come here. I know you guys are super excited to talk about this game. There were so many ups and downs. Jalen Williams was killing it. What do you guys have to say about witnessing it? I mean, the energy was really high today.
It's a different atmosphere here in Tulsa, so I mean, I feel like being with a group of friends, it just makes it better, overall.
It was absolutely insane tonight. Shea cooked, Jalen Williams, 40 points.
Okay, guys, what do the Thunder need to do to make sure that they finish this series off in Indianapolis? Who's taking it?
They'll be good. They'll show up. Offense, defense, and they'll win. They'll be good.
They gotta keep T.J. McConnell just off, being a pest and all that. But I think they gotta close out next game for
Shea
sure.
gets 30, J-Dub gets 40. We'll win.
At the end of the day, defense wins championships. So.
Yeah.
I agree. What were you going to say?
I was going to say we got to contain Tyrese Halliburton on Thursday. We're sending him back to Afghanistan. Okay, we do not negotiate with terrorists in Oklahoma.
Okay, I agree with that. Well, we're heading back to you guys. Everyone here in Tulsa is super excited, and we're all excited to see what happens in Game 6.
Thank you, Christina. A lot of excited fans still here at the Paycom Center. It's pretty surreal. I use that word after Game 1 because the look on everyone's faces inside the Paycom Center was, I can't believe that just happened. How did the Thunder let this one get away? It is the 180-degree opposite vibe in the Paycom Center right now. One win away from a championship. It doesn't even feel real that they are that close now.
You said it. It's really unbelievable, and it's very exciting, I'm sure, for a lot of Thunder fans to know, worst case scenario, you get a Game 7 back here on Sunday night, which the atmosphere in here was absolutely awesome. You knew it would be. I can't imagine what that would be like. Certainly the Thunder are hoping that that's not the case, that they can wrap this thing up on Thursday. But yeah, the atmosphere was unbelievable. Like you said, it is kind of a surreal feeling, the fact they're a win away from a championship. And, I've said it to you a couple of times. Every time it feels like we've kind of had this series pegged for the way it's going, it kind of does a zigzag on you. It looked like Oklahoma City might run away and hide. Indiana cuts it back to 2. We're obviously so close to it. We're dialed in every minute, but it feels like this is one of the more competitive and just kind of crazy NBA Finals the league has had in a while. I mean, this has been a heck of a series, and I feel like we may not have seen the last, twist and turn here, but it's an amazing feat to be this close, but Thunder still got one more win to get.
I feel like going into this series, I was telling people, I picked the Thunder in 5, but I thought it would be 5 very competitive games. Maybe you get a blowout at home. Maybe you have one where the Thunder kind of run away, but I thought it would be a very competitive 5 games in this series. And I think even arguing with people that, hey, this Pacers team is much better than you think they are, and they play a style and a brand of basketball that I think will be competitive to the Thunder. Even with that said, they're better, and they have played tougher, and I think just with a lot of heart, more than I would have even expected at that point when I'm arguing for them to make this a competitive series.
And that's with Tyrese Halliburton continuing to do basically nothing. I mean, he was, again, pretty bad offensively in this game tonight. When did he score? Did he score in the first half? Was he at goose egg? He was at goose egg in the first half.
Points were around the 6 or 7 minute mark of the third quarter when he made free throws.
amazing that, Indiana's star player, a guy who's really good, is on Team USA, like an all-star player, got shut out in the first half. But it just goes to show you how deep and how talented this Indiana team is, that they could still be within 2 in the fourth quarter with this Thunder team in this place, with Tyrese Halliburton really struggling to get going offensively as he has for the majority of this series. The depth of this Indiana team, again, I'm with you. We knew it was really good coming in, but these guys, Benedict Mathurin and what TJ McConnell did in the third quarter tonight, continues to.
This is a blowout without TJ McConnell for Indiana, right?
That third quarter, he was
13
the best
points
guy on the
in.
floor. It was crazy.
13 points in the third.
Too. Again, I think we all knew he's a really good coach. He's won a championship, but he's always got Indiana kind of doing what they need to do to hang around, and they almost pulled off an all-time stunner tonight. If they had found a way, and again, almost, I'm being a little loosey-goosey with that word, but it was a 2-point game in the fourth quarter. It got pretty tight in here, but Oklahoma City found a way to make the big plays, force some turnovers. That sequence where they got the Caruso loose ball, got it back out to 7 in the fourth, that really kind of felt like from there they kind of took off after that.
Yeah, it was a wild game, a game that very much looked like the Thunder may completely run away with it, especially because you're talking about a Pacers team that gave up the lead the way they did in Game 4, and you thought maybe if the Avalanche began inside the Paycom Center, it would become a blowout. Now, you have to get that ball rolling for that to become the case. They did, and I thought the crowd was exceptional tonight. I mean, there were moments where the crowd was so loud, you kind of had like goosebumps, like feeling the vibe of like just the overall excitement from this Thunder crowd. And again, to the Pacers' credit, they continued to fight and claw. But it's what can you say about this Thunder team? I mean, contributions in so many areas. Let's go back to our keys to the game before this thing started, and we'll start with one of yours. You mentioned depth. Like the role players have to be big time tonight, especially on your home floor, right? That's the expectation, is that role players are going to be much better on your home floor, and you got a little bit of something from nearly everyone that played significant minutes.
Yeah, 100%. I think as you go through the keys, they hit on a number of them, both from you and me, and that was obviously a huge reason why they were able to get over the hump tonight. But as far as the bench goes, we talked about it. In Indianapolis, Aaron Wiggins, Cason Wallace, Isaiah Joe, obviously didn't play tonight, but just the bench in general, outside of Alex Caruso, really nobody did much of anything offensively.
That's right.
In the 2 games in Indy. You hoped and figured that would flip around here in front of the home crowd, and it did. Cason Wallace had some huge shots, Aaron Wiggins as well. They need those guys. Obviously, SGA and J-Dub were incredible tonight, but you need some scoring from the bench and some shot making, and they got that specifically from those 2 guys. And Cason Wallace in particular, it's really huge to see. He's still a really young player. He was starting games in year 2 in the NBA Finals in his early 20s.
Yeah.
A lot was asked of him. He didn't go great those 2 games in Indy. A heck of a response by him tonight in particular. I thought that was really showed some intestinal fortitude from him. Just a kid out here.
For a young guy to start the first 3 games of the NBA Finals, and then they go back to Isaiah Hartenstein in games 4 and 5. He doesn't play well on the road. He hit some big threes in the first half, had some big defensive plays. And again, I think the winning sequence of this game was 95-93. He gets an offensive rebound, kicks it out to J-Dub for a 3. 2-point lead becomes a 5-point lead. He then gets a steal, transition bucket, and all of a sudden, like that, 3 plays by Cason Wallace, and a 2-point lead turns into a 7-point lead instantly, and kind of gave the Thunder another cushion. So he was fantastic. Another key before the game was when the turnover battle. They did that. It felt very much at times like Game 1. They were forcing so many turnovers. The major difference was their ability to convert those turnovers into points tonight, as opposed to Game 1, where it seemed like they had so many opportunities and they continued to either give the ball back or miss shots. They converted a lot of those turnovers into points tonight.
Yeah, they did a really good job of that, getting out and running and finishing in transition, which is something that burned them obviously in Game 1 here at this place. That's when the Thunder are at their best, and when they're basically unbeatable, is when they're turning you over and this place gets rolling. It's really tough to deal with that. And that sequence where I think they had 3 straight steals in the fourth quarter to kind of get some separation. Yeah. That was the difference in the game where they kind of really put it away right there.
Thunder take Game 5, 120-109 is the final. Now 1 win away from an NBA title. We're going to head to the press conference podium. Mark Dagnall, Thunder head coach, is now ready to talk to the media.
I don't know where you'd rank this game for Dub's career as long as you've been coaching him, but what did you see from him, and what do you think allowed him to get out and run and play with the force he kind of did?
Great force. I mean, that's the word. And we've used that word with him in his development. And when he's at his best, he's playing with that type of force. And that was an unbelievable performance by him just throughout the whole game. I mean, he really was on the gas the entire night, applied a ton of pressure. Thought he made a lot of the right plays. And we're going to need a similar type of approach in Game 6 from him.
All right.
Joe Masato, the Oklahoman. Mark, what do you think of the crowd tonight?
Yeah, unreal. I mean, they've been unreal forever, but they just put the wind at our back, and we have to give them a reason to. We have to play with the type of togetherness and competitiveness and spirit that they can relate to, which I thought we did tonight, but it's an unbelievable lift for us to be home. I'm sorry?
Can you hear each other out there? I mean, you're barking instructions, everything like that. Just what's that like?
Yeah, less than the regular season, but enough. We're getting the stuff in.
Hey, Mark. Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. You guys are trading punches there in the fourth quarter with them, and then you go up 8 after J-Dub hits a shot. Then you had the 4 steals in a row. Just walk me through those defensive possessions for your guys and how fitting it was to see the game really secured with your defense.
Yeah, I thought our defense tonight was really good. I thought our conversion off of our defense was hit or miss. We had some really good moments. We had some moments that I wish we could have back. The second chance points were a major problem. They did a great job of crashing to the glass. They beat us in the paint tonight. So it wasn't a perfect game at all, and there's a lot of room for growth. But I thought our improvement from Game 4 to Game 5 was critical, and we're going to need a similar type of approach. We got to take the humility to understand there's still a lot we can get better at if we want to go on the road, and win a game.
Nick in the middle.
Mark, you just mentioned improvement, the offensive process. What did you make of that? The 24 assists, 10 by Shea, and just the sheer way that you scored on that end.
Yeah, I thought we took a step forward there. We took some steps forwards tonight. We took some steps backwards. That's natural. You're not going to be perfect in everything, but offensively, we definitely took some steps forward in terms of our approach. And defensively, I thought we were pretty good. I thought McConnell really changed the game in the third. Obviously, that was blatant. And so, we got to do a better job there. We got to do a better job on the glass. Late game defensive transition, they kept the pressure on us there. So we have room for growth, but I thought we took some steps forward on the other end.
Vince on the right.
Hey, Coach. Vince Goodwell, Yahoo Sports. Coming into the season, the thought was that either Dub or Chet was going to have to step forward to be the second guy next to Shea to get you guys to this level. Was there anything before the season or during the season where you were sort of affirmed about J-Dub, or was it something that evolved through the playoffs that sort of leads up to tonight in this series?
Yeah, respectfully, we don't look at it like that in terms of, second guy, first guy, third guy, anything like that. We're just trying to help every guy grow and improve and tackle the next thing in front of them. And Dub's a third-year player. Chet's a third-year player. Cason Wallace, a second-year player. I mean, we're just trying to help those guys take steps forward wherever they are at a given moment. That's everybody on the roster. That's Caruso and Kenrich Williams, and that's all the way on down. And when you do that and when the guys commit to that, they improve. And I think tonight, a lot of the things that Dub got in the game tonight are things that we talked about early in the season. He wasn't having games like this in November, December. So his focus on the improvement, I think, led to him being the player he is right now. But again, these guys can be ready to go on the road. We got to be ready to go as well.
Fifth row on the left.
Right here. Mark Logan Murdoch.
That is Thunder head coach Mark Daignault from the press conference podium. Along with Josh Calloway, I am Colby Daniels. Thunder take Game 5 at the Paycom Center. 120-109 is the final, now 1 win away from a world championship. We'll take a timeout. More post-game reaction coming up next here on the End Zone.
Sponsored by Lucky Star Casino.
Thunder take Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Now a 3-2 lead, 1 win away from an NBA championship. Game 6 at Indiana on Thursday night. That's going to be a pretty incredible atmosphere. Indiana's back against the wall. A lot of reports from OKC and Tulsa media that the 2 games played at Indiana, the crowd was really great. I expect that will be the same. The crowd was really great here tonight in a Game 5 win. We gave the stat before the game. Game 5 winners in series tied 2-2 all time go on to win the NBA Finals 70% of the time. So for this Thunder team, I mean, I know you don't want to look at it as having a mulligan in Game 6 and being able to come back home to win. I don't think with this Indiana team you want to take any chances and give them any life. But obviously it's a nice thing to have the comfort of a Game 7 on your home floor if it comes to that. But I would anticipate, especially hearing some of those comments from Mark Daigneault at the press conference podium, that they are going to treat Game 6 like a Game 7.
Yeah, it's a great luxury to have a potential Game 7 here. Obviously, that's huge, but to your point, it's a Game 7. It's one game for everything, quite literally everything, if it came to that. So if you're Oklahoma City going in and treating Game 6 like it's, like it's Game 7, like it's everything, and trying to end this thing in Indianapolis would be huge, because, Game 6 in Denver, we've compared this series to the Denver series a lot. Game 6 in Denver, they did some good things, but it always had the feeling of kind of like they're coming back home. Now, they blew out Denver in Game 7, so
that's right.
It went fine, right? But they didn't go finish the job, and they had to sweat out a Game 7. Obviously, you feel really good about Oklahoma City winning a game here on Sunday if it came to it. But the opportunity to win this thing on Thursday and just avoid that completely, because Indiana's going to feel the pressure, right? The season is on the line for them. We talked about that in pregame. The Pacers have not had their backs against the wall really at any point in the postseason. They have not had an elimination game yet, right? So this is the first time they'll be feeling some heat on Thursday. So if you're the Thunder, you get out to a lead maybe, try to put some heat on the Pacers, make it a nervous crowd. You can win this thing in Indy on Thursday night. So we'll see what happens, but like you said, it's nice knowing you have Game 7 at home, but it also would be much better just not have to worry about Game 7 at home at the same time.
I'll be curious when the line comes out to see what the Thunder are favored by in Game 6, but this Pacers team, for as good as they are, they've not faced a ton of adversity this postseason. Several firsts happened tonight. It's the first time the Pacers have lost back-to-back games this postseason. It's the first time they've faced elimination this postseason. It's also the first time they have trailed in a series in the postseason, right. Now down 3 games to 2. That's right. They have not been tested in that way, and that's not to say that they won't bounce back in a big way in Game 6. We just don't know what they're capable of when their back is against the wall, the same way that I think we've seen with the Thunder, especially in the Denver series, especially in Games 2 and 4 of this series.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's something that is real, right? I mean, we just talked about how good we think Indiana is and the depth of this team, and they're going to respond. Their home crowd's going to be on fire, trying to keep this thing alive and force a Game 7. But it's the first time that Tyrese Haliburton, who's also a very young player, that kind of gets lost in the shuffle. And a lot of these guys, outside of Pascal Siakam, I've never been in this spot before, in the NBA Finals, and they played very well. But now it's, okay, if we lose, it's over, right? So if you can find a way to get a lead on Thursday and make that a nervous crowd, there's a possibility the Pacers will play tight, and the way the Thunder play defense, a tight offense, that's a bad combo. And who knows from there, right? You can maybe win this thing on Thursday. So there's something to be said for that. The fact that Oklahoma City has shown when it gets tight, they can find a way to win games. Indiana, I'm not saying they can't do it, they just haven't yet.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun on Thursday. Going into that game, you're 4 quarters away from winning an NBA championship.
That's a fair question the other way.
Yeah, it's a fair question the other way. Yeah. Knowing that it's that close and within reach, do they press? Do they try too hard? Do they get outside of themselves? I mean, that pendulum certainly swings both ways. Yeah. We will send it to, I would assume, either SGA or J-Dub at the podium as soon as they get there. Those two guys were both phenomenal tonight. The league MVP, the guy who had the iconic close in Game 4, SGA scores 31 points tonight in a finals game. 10 assists, which was a big thing after Game 4, right? He had the incredible point output and especially closing ability. 0 assists in Game 4. He was in double digits tonight. 31 and 10, and he is not the star of the game tonight. I mean, I don't know if Game 5 will forever be remembered as the J-Dub game, but a 40-point performance from the Robin to SGA's Batman, if you will, in Game 5 with the series seemingly hanging in the balance. I mean, I called SGA's Game 4 clutch time performance iconic. J-Dub's Game 5 performance overall, from start to finish, because he was great throughout the entire game.
Yeah.
I mean, it may go down as one of the more iconic performances in this franchise's history.
I think it has to be. And I'm trying to run through the Rolodex real quick. I mean, how many individual Thunder performances, given the stage and the moment, would you say are better than what Jalen Williams did tonight? I mean, if there's any, it's a very short list. I mean, he goes 40 points in the NBA Finals game. Jalen Williams has moved to superstar level. I mean, again, he was an all-star this year, so it's not like he's coming out of nowhere. But, all year, this has been Shea's team, and rightfully so. He won the MVP, and it's still SGA, still the number one guy, right? But it's much more of a 1 and 1A than maybe we've kind of thought about it throughout the course of the year and moving into the years ahead, right? I mean, for J-Dub to play like this, and it always kind of felt like when Jalen Williams is rolling with confidence, he can be as good as anyone. Sometimes that hurts him, right? He kind of loses it a little bit. It's fleeting. It's pro sports. Tonight, he had that edge all night. Like you said, from the very beginning, Jalen Williams had an attack mode and a mindset of like, I'm going to win us this game. Like, I'm not going to go above my skis and make it, one-man show. But he was just an attacking, that dog mentality all game tonight. You can't say enough. He was absolutely phenomenal. And SGA goes 31 without making a three. He just wakes out of bed and gets 30. It's really unbelievable. J-Dub, a 40-piece in the finals. Can't say enough. What a showing for him.
I mean, that's going to be one of those things he remembers forever, right? No matter what else happens in his career, 40 points in Game 5 of the NBA Finals is always going to be something that you seemingly hang on the mantle, if you will.
And he goes 40 points. He also, how many possessions did he get in and get a hand on a ball? Like, he had that one possession, I think it was in the first half, where the Pacers were swinging the ball around, and somehow he was the one closing it out every time. Like, the way he can move around and cover the court defensively tonight was also really impressive, while giving you 40 offensively.
Yeah, he's really, it's felt like, to your point, the light bulb has really come on in this series. He's played well throughout this postseason, but you feel like the aggressiveness has certainly been turned up, and he's sort of realized, I think, what he can do in this series against this team, and that his aggressiveness has been a giant asset for this Thunder team. Now 1 win away from an NBA title. Thunder take Game 5, 120-109, along with Josh Calloway. I am Colby Daniels. We'll take a timeout. We'll have more post-game sound from the press conference podium after the break.
You're watching The End Zone, sponsored by Lucky Star Casino.
Thunder take Game 5 of the NBA Finals. 120-109 is the final. Now 1 win away from an NBA championship. Game 6 on the road at Indiana. Thursday night tip-off at 7:30. SGA scored 31 points tonight, 10 assists, and he is at the press conference podium.
A lot easier. Not only for myself, but for the rest of the guys. He can shoulder a load. I've said this before. He does so many things for us as a basketball team on both ends of the floor when he's the best version of himself. But yeah, like you said, he was great tonight. Makes the world of a difference when he's that good for sure.
Tim, second row.
Tim McMahon, ESPN. What stood out to you most about Dub's performance tonight?
Yeah, he was like really gutsy tonight. He stepped into big plays. I feel like every time he needed a shot, he made it. He wasn't afraid. He was fearless tonight. And, whether they went in or didn't, and obviously tonight they went in more than they didn't. But he stepped into the plays with confidence for sure.
Dan over here, left.
Daniel Bell, BSO. Yeah, the crowd was really good tonight, and at times when there were lulls, and they just got loud, it seemed like that pushed you guys. I don't know if that's a correlation, but do you feel like when those lulls in the games happen and the crowd just randomly just starts getting loud, do you feel like that pushes you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. They are like a wind in our back. They when we're not playing well, they help us. When we're playing well, they keep us going. They've been great all year, and tonight was no different. We expect that from them. Yeah, they were great.
Vince on the right.
Shay, Vince Goodwill, Yahoo Sports. You know what it's like to be a young player to ascend quickly and kind of almost out of nowhere. What is it like to see your teammate kind of go on the same path? Is this something that you saw early in the season, last year, even him as a rookie?
Yeah, absolutely. From the first, honestly, from when I saw him play at Summer League, I knew, he could be really good in this league. He can do so many things on the basketball court, and then he has, really good feel and really good work ethic. And when you have those two things, you're going to figure it out. You're going to get better, and you're going to just continue to mold your game the more you work and figure out your spots and figure out where you're supposed to be, where you're not supposed to be. And we're seeing that blossom right before our eyes.
Michael on the right.
Shay, Michael Grange, Sportsnet Toronto. You look at some of the plays you made down the stretch defensively, individually. Was that a focus of yours to kind of get a little bit more disruptive, or did you feel a little fresher maybe with having a little bit lighter minutes in the first half?
I'm not too sure. I was just out there trying to affect winning. trying to make a basketball play, trying to help the team win if I was in position, trying to be in position for the next rotation, next play defensively. Whatever comes with that, comes with that.
Shea, you're the fourth player. I'm here.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. You're the fourth player with 15 or more games in playoffs that you score 30 or more points. The other ones are Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, and Hakeem Olajuwon. How does it feel for you? I know you're breaking records, but how does this one feel?
It's cool, I guess. I guess it's just like the rest of the other ones. So like, it's like it's a stat, but it's like narrowed into 3 different specific details. It's cool, I guess, but focus on one thing, and that's winning one more game.
Joel on the front.
Joel Lorenzi with the Oklahoma. Hey, Mark was just in here talking about some of the stretches Dub had during the year to play with this level of force. He called it like ugly stretches, ugly plays. What do you remember about those stretches and what they kind of did for him to be able to play with this level of force in the finals?
I honestly have no clue what coach is talking about. I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about. But yeah, he uses the season to get better, just like the rest of us. He played big tonight, and the way he attacks every game, all 82 of them, it's just like chinks in his armor, and he's ready for battle tonight.
Fifth row on the right.
Yes, Dean Blevins, News 9. Shea, you know, you may go on and win a World Championship and look back at that stretch where you had a big lead, then it was shriveled, and you guys found a way to come back and overcome it and go on a win. What was the key to that happening? It may end up being a very, very key part of that game.
We were very disruptive defensively. Kind of had them on their heels, was pressuring, and because of that, had felt 3 or 4 steals in a row. And then we were able to get out and run, get easy baskets. But yeah, it always starts defensively for us.
Back left.
Logan Murdoch with the Ringer. Shea, it felt like you brought a calming influence to this game, specifically in the fourth quarter. I think you got a couple steals and you got a couple hockey assists. When you guys are up in the way that you guys are up and they start to come back, what do you try to bring to a game to not only protect the lead but close it out and get a win?
Every play is important. Every play matters a little bit more, obviously, later in the game. But you just try to go out there and make the right basketball play off your instincts. And on both the floor, you just try to do what's best in that moment, that possession, and try to stay in the moment as much as possible, not worry about what's happening, what the swings are. Just try to win that possession.
Right here in the front.
Michael Martin, Let's Talk Thunder. Shea, a big topic of discussion throughout the season was you going back and you talked about feeling like you could get your teammates more prepared for the playoffs. What's it been sort of like seeing Dub on a stage like this as a guy who you've really empowered throughout the years?
It's good. He's getting better, and I'm not surprised by his performance tonight. Like, the kid works super hard. He has the right intentions. He deserves this moment. Now, with that being said, we have one more game to win, and I know he's not satisfied by this performance, but yeah, he works hard, and he played well tonight because of that. It's no fluke.
Last 2 on the right side.
Valencia King, Real Talk Sports. Shea, I've talked to Caruso about how he's grown into his veteran voice, being a leader on this team. Vital has his voice been not just heading back into Indiana, but throughout this whole playoff process.
Yeah, he's the only one on the team with a ring. He knows what it takes. He's been there before. He's won 16 games in a playoff run, so he knows what it takes. And when he speaks, everyone listens. And also, what he brings to the game, you have no choice but to listen. Like a guy like that leads by example, not only leading with his voice, and does everything to make the team better, selfishly and selflessly. You have no choice but to listen to a guy like that when he speaks.
Kemal Bozkurt Hibernian from Turkey. Congratulations for win tonight. Do you have any message for your millions Turkish fans? They watch very early every finals game.
Thanks for the support. We love you guys.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, that was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from the press conference podium. 31 points tonight, 10 assists following a game where he had 0 assists, and I know that became kind of a national story with his Game 4 performance. Yeah. But, I mean, on a night where J-Dub scores 40, SGA 31-10 just kind of feels like a standard game. I mean, those are incredible numbers, and he continues to just set records this postseason.
Like I said, he falls out of bed and gets 30. He didn't even hit a 3 tonight. I mean, it wasn't like SGA ever did anything stuff that we're used to seeing, frankly. You try not to get numb to it, but obviously the mid-range game is unbelievable. He gets to the line, and he plays defense. He had 4 blocks tonight. First guy in NBA Finals history, 30 points, 10 assists, 4 blocks. First guy, number 1. No parameters on age, nothing. First guy to ever do that. It's pretty unbelievable what SGA does nightly throughout this league and throughout the postseason, and also what he does defensively, too. Which sometimes gets overlooked, but 4 blocks tonight, too, to go with everything else he does is pretty unbelievable.
He's the quote-unquote weak link defensively, right, for this team. Like, when people look at them and generally, like, whatever 5 guys are on the floor, he's usually the one that people say might be the weakest defender, and he is a plus defender for this team. I mean, that's why this team is historically great on the defensive side of the ball. He keeps the focus on winning. He didn't hit a 3 tonight. He was great at the free throw line as usual. His ability to finish in traffic and I think just turn plays when he gets into the lane that look like there is nothing available into what is essentially an easy finish is just phenomenal, and I never am not wowed by that ability. We have Aaron Wiggins at the press conference podium now. Hit some big threes in this game and another big performance from the Thunder's bench player.
Better one in the fourth quarter where I think you had 4 straight steals. What is it that makes that sort of defensive momentum happen? Is it ratcheting up the pressure? Is it fatigue on the other team? Is it just the thrill of the moment? What creates defensive momentum like that?
Us being competitive and, trying to stack stops on defense. That's something that we preach every day, every game. Stack good possessions. And, once we see one, the next person want to get one. So it just trickle down to the next guy.
Mike up front, right?
Hey, guys. Michael Grange from Sportsnet in Toronto. This is for either or both of you. How much have you allowed yourselves to think about, winning a title, and what steps have you taken to avoid getting too focused on the outcome here?
Not too much thought into it yet. Obviously, we know the position we're in, and you can't take it for granted. So we have the right approach of, making sure we take care of business and get done what we have to first. But like I said, obviously we know the position we're in, but can't think about it. Got to take it, one possession at a time, one game at a time, and finish business like that.
Second row on the right.
Myron Patton, OKC Sports Radio. This is really for both. Case and you first. So I watched you yesterday, really working on your 3-point game. You hadn't really shot it well the last couple of games. What's it feel like putting in all that work and for it to show up on a game like this?
Yeah, just staying confident, knowing that they're going to fall eventually. I was in a shooting slump. So getting that first 3 to go in really was good for me. And, I put in the work in every day, so I knew it was going to matter of time.
Aaron, also, you had the big game a couple of games ago. What's it like in a game like this where you need something from the bench that you're able to come through in a moment like this in such a pivotal game?
Our guys just did a good job, getting everybody involved. I was able to get a couple looks going out there, still with the mindset to be aggressive, but, within our team offense. Shots fell. Guys kept finding me. Obviously, same with Queso. And, that's huge for us. When we can get, looks, I think it kind of just allows for, our team to kind of settle in and get comfortable. So just did a good job, sharing the ball and getting good looks.
Left side here.
Justin Martinez to the Oklahoman for either of you guys. Mark just mentioned that he doesn't look at it in terms of first guy, second guy, third guy. He's focused on everybody on the team growing and developing. Just how much does that help, breathe confidence into everyone in the rotation?
Yeah, I think it's been good. It allows everybody to kind of, have that certain sense of trust, from him and our coaching staff. you know, he allows guys to kind of go out there, play free, and you know, if you know you get going, it opens the game up for you as an individual and for our team. So, you know, his trust and his confidence in the guys is huge for us.
Talk sports, Kaysen, and I'll get to you, Aaron, in a second. You mentioned being in a slump and getting out of that. There's a lot of young basketball players watching on the biggest stage right now. Can you elaborate on how you get yourself out of that slump and elaborate on how you've been able to maintain your confidence?
Just knowing that, you know, it happens in basketball. You can't make every shot. You got to miss some. So just my teammates having confidence in me, knowing that I put the work in every day, good things are going to happen eventually.
Seen how much of a brotherhood this team has had all season long, but how would you describe what it's been like going to battle with these guys each and every night?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. It's just a fun experience every night. You know, being able to compete from day one in training camp against each other to, you know, going out on the court and being able to play other teams. It's just, you know, a fun experience. And 1 through 18, every single guy enjoys, you know, being a part of this group. So nothing guys take for granted.
Fred?
Aaron.
All right, that was Aaron Wiggins and Kaysen Wallace from the press conference podium. Thunder win Game 5, 120-109, one win away from an NBA championship. They'll play at Indiana on Thursday night. Game 6 scheduled to tip off at 7:30. We'll take another timeout, and we'll bring you Jalen Williams when he arrives at the press conference.
You're watching The End Zone, sponsored by Lucky Star Casino.
Along with Josh Calloway, I am Colby Daniels. Thunder take Game 5 of the NBA Finals. 120-109 is the final. They are one win away from an NBA championship. Game 6 at Indiana, Thursday night, tip-off at 7:30. So many things, I think, to digest from what we watched tonight. It was a fun game, right? Fun atmosphere here inside the Paycom Center. Thunder hit the ground running. I mean, they had a great start to this game. A lot of highlight-type plays in the first quarter, second quarter. Then, I don't know if they ate a giant stack of extra buttery, extra syrupy pancakes, and they were ready for a nap coming out of the locker room, but they clearly just didn't have the same energy in the third quarter, and you know, led by T.J. McConnell of all people, the Indiana Pacers, I thought just outworked them overall. The number of offensive rebounds in this game was wild, and a lot of those were long rebounds where I think the Pacers just out-hustled the Thunder to track those down. It becomes a 2-point game in the fourth quarter. Kaysen Wallace, a couple of big sequence plays, offensive rebound, kick out to J-Dub for a 3. He gets a steal, a transition bucket, and the 2-point lead immediately turns into 7, and the Thunder really, I think, went pedal to the metal the rest of the way, and they win Game 5 tonight here at the Paycom Center. We talked last game about the three-point shooting and just how crazy it is to win a game in today's NBA, especially, much less on the road against this Pacers team, making 3 3-pointers. Even if they shot bad tonight, I anticipated that it was going to be better than Game 4, right? It can't be much worse.
Yeah.
14 of 32 tonight. I mean, they shot the ball exceptionally well from downtown. 43% in a finals game. You'll take that every day of the week.
Oh, absolutely. You talked about that pregame as being a major key. You know, Mark Dagnall, in his pregame availability, he mentioned that it was an emphasis to take more threes, which might sound like, whoa, man, you shot 3 of 17 in Game 4. I don't know if taking more is the answer, but that was an emphasis for the Thunder, was generating better looks from 3. And obviously, 17 is a pretty low number in modern NBA as far as three-point attempts goes. And they did. They took almost twice as many, shot a much higher percentage. Aaron Wiggins hit some big ones, Kaysen Wallace. Obviously, Chet hit one early in this game that kind of helped get the ball rolling a little bit. The outside shooting was much, much better. Like you said, outside of the third quarter where, strangely, and a night that was mostly positive and obviously a huge win, third quarter was maybe the worst quarter they played at home, even the whole post.
It was raw. I mean, it rivals the fourth quarter of Game 1.
Yeah, it was ugly. It was not pretty basketball. And like you said, they just didn't quite seem to have that little pep in their step that you would hope to come out and try to put them away after they had a double-digit lead at halftime. But they found a way to reel it in the fourth. It's funny, the winner of the bench battle has largely won. In fact, they have won every game in the series until tonight. Indiana had more bench points, because Oklahoma City only played 4 guys on the bench, and 2 of them did all the scoring pretty much with Wiggins and Wallace, we just were hearing from. But those 2 guys were so good to go with what Dub and Shady giving you over 70 that was enough to get you over that hump. It's just kind of when you start to go through the numbers of it, obviously a lot of good, but some kind of weird things with the way this series has gone. And kind of what I said earlier, right? When you think you kind of have this series pegged, it kind of gives you a zigzag from the way that the things have been kind of trending, and you saw that a little bit tonight.
I mean, we have talked so much about the timeliness of players stepping up for this Thunder team, right? I mean, in Game 1, even though they lost, Lou Dort was phenomenal, had a ton of big three-pointers in that game, played great defense. You get that type of performance from him outside of your star players, and you fall short. Those are the type of games that hurt when you get that type of production from one of the non-big three players, right? Game 2, they get the win, and both Wiggins and Caruso were fantastic. Game 3, you know, it was not a whole lot to speak of from the bench. Game 4 was another great Alex Caruso performance. You know, tonight Alex Caruso certainly made a bunch of big plays. Didn't deliver, I think, in the points department, but Cason Wallace, who was largely invisible at times in the 3 and 4 game at Indiana, delivered, I think, some big-time, timely three-pointers, and I thought gave a spark defensively. Wiggins, who kind of duplicated what he did in Game 2 here. You just got it from so many players, but to your point about Indiana, they've had the same thing, right? I mean, Indiana doesn't win Game 3 without Ben Mathurin scoring a game-high 27 points. Right. Obi Toppin has had multiple games in this series where he's been the best player for them off the bench. TJ McConnell's had a couple games where he's been really good, including tonight where he was probably their best player overall, maybe Pascal Siakam. But
at the very least in that third quarter.
At the very least, he saved the game for them in the third quarter with 13 big points and really just, I think, about a 7 or 8 minute stretch where he just was all over the place. That's what makes this series so fun. I think for as much as we've talked good about one team or the other, these teams have seemed to want to match each other in almost every department.
Yeah, they do mirror each other in a lot of ways. We kind of thought that might be the case going in, even down to kind of the attitude of the fan bases and like the coaching matchup. There is a lot of similarities there. The thing that's making the difference right now, and frankly in these last 2 games, is Oklahoma City is getting huge production from their 2 stars, right? Their 2 all-stars. Whereas Indiana, you know, you have Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam, who Siakam was pretty good tonight. I don't know what his line ended up looking like. But Tyrese Halliburton obviously didn't really do much of anything offensively. So Oklahoma City is winning the star battle, and then, you know, they're trying to just wash it out in the rest of it, the role players, the bench players. And, you know, it's kind of strange to look at what Oklahoma City did tonight and the fact that they only played 4 guys off the bench. That's a pretty low number, you know, for the Thunder. I mean, remember, Game 1, they played 11 guys in the first 15 minutes. They played 9 the whole night, right? So it's just kind of one of those adjustments that Mark Daigneault made tonight. He tightened it up the rotations, leaned on his stars, and hard not to say that didn't pay off with J-Dub and Shea going for 40 and 30 respectively.
I mean, it's crazy. I know they got Game 4 after giving up Game 1. And you can play the what-if game. What if Indiana had not given up Game 4 and they were up 3-1 coming into tonight? But if you think right now it's 3-2, if that Game 1 didn't happen and everything else goes the same way, right? There's confetti falling from the rooftop here at the Paycom Center. Right. That's how thin the margins are. And to your point about, I think, the difference in this series, I mean, the best player in this series has been Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Second best player in this series, I think, has been Jalen Williams. Pascal Siakam has been really good tonight. You asked the line, 28 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. He was clearly Indiana's overall best player. McConnell, I thought, maybe their most important player because of the lift he gave them when they were facing a double-digit deficit at halftime. But the best 2 players in this series have been SGA and Jalen Williams, and I don't think that's too debatable. Alex Caruso is probably toward the top of that list somewhere as well. The superstars have got it done, and I'll just throw this out there. Imagine, for as much criticism as SGA gets, and even J-Dub at times for some of his like average games, right, where he scores like 14 points, and some of the criticism like, is this guy good enough to be the number 2 on a championship type team? I mean, Tyrese Halliburton has been anointed as like the next coming, right, in this series, and he's had 3 games where he's been, I mean, outside of the game winner in Game 1, he was very pedestrian. I know he's dealing with some injuries, but only 4 points tonight. His first point didn't come till the midway point of the third quarter. Imagine if SGA had 2 or 3 games in a series like Tyrese Halliburton has had, what the national narrative would be.
No, I was just thinking that exact same thing. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like I'm crushing Tyrese Halliburton.
No, not at all.
I think Tyrese Halliburton's a good player. I'm not sure. Well, I say that. I was going to say I'm not sure if he can be the number 1 on a championship team, but Indiana's really close to doing that with that being the case. But right on with what you're saying. I mean, he didn't score in the first half tonight. Like, that is crazy. I mean, if SGA had a first half where he doesn't score, or name any star, any star player across the league, and Anthony Edwards, or certainly a Jokic, like we would freak out. We would freak out just across NBA media in general, NBA fans in general. And you're not really doing that with Tyrese Halliburton because he has that weird ability to not really be a volume scorer, but then kind of do it late when he needs to. We obviously saw that firsthand here in Game 1. But yeah, the way the Thunder have defended him and bothered him has been a major storyline that hasn't really got talked about that much, I feel like, over the course of the series. But yeah, they completely flustered him tonight to not score in the first half. Crazy.
It's wild. Let's head to the press conference podium. We have Chet Holmgren.
Chet, just in general, what'd you like about the offensive rhythm and flow that you guys had as a team tonight? 24 assists and 120 points.
I think we did a really good job of playing with pace, letting our defense start our offense, and then, it really helps, when Shea and Dub show up like they did and, really trust making the right play. And, they were huge for us tonight, and, I don't know if there's any other way to put it.
With that on Dub that you just mentioned, you've walked alongside him on this path in the NBA for every day of the last 3 years, basically. On a personal level, what's it like for you to see him have such a masterful performance in this setting?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys that you want to see succeed, especially when you know him personally. You want to root for him. You want him to do good. Just because he shows up every single day, does the right things. He's a good guy off the court, treats everybody well. He's always respectful. And he works really hard. So you want to see it pay off for him. And, we saw it tonight. Not only tonight, we've seen it this, we don't get here without him playing as good as he's playing. So, we got to make sure he gets his credit, gets his flowers. And, I'm sure he's not taking tonight and, feeling accomplished. We still have a job to get done, and we still have to focus on that, and I'm sure that's where his mindset is.
Barry
Trammell, Tulsa World. Chet, last couple of games you haven't played as well offensively, I assume, as you'd like, but your rebounding's been big time. What's going on there? Is it something about the style of play, just effort on your, intensity on your part? What's with the uptick in rebounding?
I don't know if there's one single answer. I'd say a big part of it is they like to play with pace. They move around, fly around on both ends of the floor. So the paint is naturally more open to kind of crash. And then I'm also just trying to make an emphasis of, when the shots aren't falling, not letting that keep you from being an impactful player. There's two sides to every game. You have to score more than the other team, so there's two ways to win the game. Score more points or hold them to less points, and rebounding is a big part of both. You got to get the rebound so you can play offense. You got to get the rebound so you can be done with defense. So just trying to find whatever ways I can to help us win.
Logan standing on the right.
Logan Murdoch of The Ringer right here, Chet. You talked about giving Jalen his flowers, and Shea had a bit of the same sentiment when he was up here. It seems like you guys are really excited when your teammates do great, and a lot of it is made about you guys' chemistry. How was that chemistry helped you guys throughout this postseason, through the ups and the downs, and how did that help you guys out tonight as well?
I'd say the biggest thing is no matter what happens, good or bad, we're going to do it together. Tonight we saw a lot of good, especially from Dub. So we're all right there to cheer him on. And, we're not only excited for his individual success, but we're excited about the team's success together. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. But, even when there's bad moments, we're going through that together. We have each other's back. And it really kind of sets a tone, that you can really trust each other no matter what's going on.
Thank you. Jalen will be right up.
All right, that was Chet Holmgren from the press conference podium as the Thunder win 120-109. They take Game 5 of the NBA Finals, now one win away from an NBA championship. Game 6 on Thursday night. Josh, as we wrap up, final thoughts on actually, let's hold off on final thoughts. Let's check in with Jalen Williams, the star of the show tonight. 40 points for J-Dub in a big Thunder win.
Joel, front right.
Joel Lorenzi with the Oklahoma. Dub, I just wonder, Mark was talking about stretches during the season where you were trying to establish this sort of force, and he said there were ugly games and ugly plays. What do you remember from those times and what they meant for you to have as much force as you played with tonight?
In order to get better and be good in these moments, and by no means am I perfect in these moments, but you're able to generate good habits when you have the right way of like going about it and you have a process. And I'm extremely fortunate that I have a coach and a staff and teammates that allow me to have those ugly plays during the year and figure out my game. And I think right now it's like paid off, to be honest. Just like I understand the level of like physicality that I have to do in order to be good. And can you guys hear me? Because all that's out there. Yeah, so like I said, I'm just extremely fortunate that I have a coach that allowed me to like go through that process of like figuring out what I'm good at and just like what I need to do in order to be successful. So that's kind of how I view that process.
Tim in the front.
Tim McMahon, ESPN. You're still a young guy. I mean, 40 in a finals game to go up 3-2. What sort of a statement do you think this type of performance makes for you?
My answer is going to suck because it's kind of going to negate your question, but it's something more that I'll like look back on later on than like worry about what kind of statement it makes. I think the only statement we have right now is we're up 3-2 and we still have to go earn another win. But it'll be cool to look back on later on, and hopefully somewhere down the line I'll have like a more fun answer for you.
Was there a point tonight where you felt like you had it cooking, like you felt like you could take control of this game?
I wouldn't say take control. I'm just out there being aggressive, and like I said, I have a staff and teammates that allow me to do that and like figure out my game and just figure out spots where I can try and be dynamic. And a lot of that is just me trying to pick my spots and do what I can in order to win the game. And not every game is going to be 40 or 25. It's just kind of like doing whatever it takes to win the game.
Joe front.
Joe Masato, the Oklahoman. Dub, what did you think of the fans tonight and just the energy they gave you guys?
Typical night for us. Very loud, extremely loud. It feels like the court is shaking when we're here. They give us that boost we need. Felt like they were standing the whole entire game. They're into the game, which is rare for a crowd. I think Indies was that way too, so it's been two really cool areas to be in, but it's just so loud here. It's like deafening. Like I remember I was trying to yell a coverage to Lou before the play get in, and we're like 2 feet away and we can't hear each other. So it's definitely a special thing to be a part of Oklahoma and just like the team and how well like the fans embrace us. Like for them to be outside the gate at 2-3 a.m. and greet us and be excited is super dope. It's special, and it's something that we're definitely playing for, and we always have in the back of our mind just like how lucky we are and I am to be here. So it's a dope atmosphere.
Logan standing on the right.
Logan Murdoch of The Ringer. Chet had talked about how important it was to give you your flowers, and Shea also had a similar sentiment when asked about your game. A lot of it has been made about this team chemistry and how important it is to you guys. How does that team chemistry empower you to be great, and how did that help out tonight?
Yeah, like I said, I'm just blessed to be in a situation where everybody wants everybody to succeed. It's such a rare thing. I think it's even more rare that we're playing like the Pacers, who just looking on the outside are kind of that way too. Like you see how close-knit they are. But yeah, I'm just in a really, really good situation. It's allowed me to grow as a player at a more rapid rate because I'm not worried about like, what if I fail? I have guys that I know are going to pick me up when I fall short, and I try and do the same thing for them. So I think our team chemistry has got us here. It's something that's kept us strong, and yeah, it's just a fortunate situation that I get to be in.
Second row on the right.
Myron Patton, OKC Sports Radio. You shot well from the field, 14 of 25.
An iconic 40-point performance from Jalen Williams in Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Thunder now lead the Indiana Pacers 3-2. Along with Josh Calloway, I am Colby Daniels, getting ready for Game 6 on Thursday night. Josh, final thoughts tonight and spinning it forward to Thursday.
Yeah, just an all-time Jalen Williams performance. That's obviously the main takeaway, and the thing that I'll remember from this game, I think, for a long time, was just a special night from him. Obviously, you get 40 points in the NBA Finals, and obviously it's such a young guy to do it. I think it was only the 9th guy, 24 younger, to score 40, and go peruse that list.
Incredible stat.
Whenever you have them.
Hall of Famers.
All of them, basically. Unbelievable performance from him. I think if you're Oklahoma City, obviously you still feel good. You've won 2 in a row. You haven't lost back-to-back games the entire postseason. You'd have to do that to not win the series now, right? But you got to go do it still. And I fully expect Indiana to respond in Game 6 in front of their home crowd. This Pacers team is tough. I mean, they just never go away. I know that Game 2 was a fairly comfortable win, but they are almost like blowout proof with the way that they can just continue to battle back. So I'm expecting Indiana to swing back and play really well at home in Game 6. But if you're Oklahoma City, you got to feel great knowing that at the worst-case scenario, you get to come back home for Game 7 on Sunday. So a lot to feel good about. The way J-Dub and Shea are both playing right now, you got some better contributions from the bench. Can you get that on the road? That'll be a big question mark for me on Thursday. But at the end of the day, if you're Oklahoma City, you did what you had to do. You protected home court, and you can go try to win this thing on the road on Thursday.
You mentioned special performance from J-Dub. Special performance, I thought, team-wide on top of J-Dub's incredible 40-point game. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 31 and 10. A number of contributors, both in the starting lineup and off the bench. Just really felt like an overall team effort with a couple of spotlights, obviously, on your 2 big stars. Special, I think, atmosphere tonight because the Paycom Center absolutely brought it. I mean, there were a couple of goosebump moments for me just being in the building and feeling the energy inside this place when the Thunder got things rolling and you felt that avalanche coming. Credit Indiana for really fighting back and putting the Thunder in a pressure situation, having to face some adversity in the fourth quarter, but more often than not in that position they have absolutely delivered, and they did it again tonight. 1 win away now from an NBA championship as we get ready for Game 6 of the NBA Finals at Indiana on Thursday night tip-off at 7:30. Thanks to everybody here, Marlena and Jakari. Thanks to Morgan back in the studio. This has been a ton of fun, and we get ready for Game 6 on Thursday. Thunder lead the Pacers 3-2. For Josh Calloway, I am Colby Daniels. It's going to be a fun couple days, and we'll see you Thursday. OKC Pacers potentially for a championship.